All right, let's talk about low back pain, low back tightness. How do we fix this, all right? What most people tend to do is they want to try to stretch it out, right? And so what do? They do toe touches, hamstring stretches. But the thing that you got to understand about low back pain is it's more than likely not the hamstrings that are causing the issue. It's either your glutes, your hip flexors, or your QL muscle, all right? The QL muscle is basically an internal muscle that's running down along the spine, or it's going to be your psoas, all right? And so you can do all the toe touches that you want, but it's not going to cure that back pain, because where most people are getting tight and creating back pain is by being in a flexed position at the hips, sitting in a chair, whether that's being in a car or at a desk for hours over the course of the day. You get super tight and bound up all within here, all right? And so what I'm going to take you through is a little routine that's going to help soften that up. It's loosening up the areas that we need to loosen up. If you do this daily, and you do it to the point where you do loosen up, and then you just do it a couple of times throughout the week, you will eliminate that back pain for good, all right? And so a couple things that you need, if you have a med ball would be good, or just like a small little like box or something that you can put your butt on when you're going to do this first little mobility stretch, right? You also want like a lacrosse ball or a small mobility ball, ideally, all right? A foam roller will work to hit our hip flexors, but then when we hit our QL muscle and our glutes, we want to be able to dig in deeper into those muscles, where a foam roller is just going to be too big, there's too much surface area, we can't get into specific areas that we need to get into to loosen up certain muscles, all right? So you're going to want like a little mobility ball or a lacrosse ball, something to really dig into those areas, all right? So first thing that we're going to do, you need some sort of like post or something. You can use a door. You can do this in a doorway where you can kind of reach and hold on to something. But basically, what you're going to do is you'll have your little box or med ball. In this case, you're going to sit down. Okay, you want to position yourself correctly first. So you're going to sit up nice and tall on the ball. I'm about an arm length away from the anchor point that I'm going to grab onto, just a little bit more, because I want to be able to lean forward. And so what I'm going to do first, I'm going to lean forward and I'm going to push my hips back. This is why a med ball works really well, but I'm going to push my hips back and I'm just going to slightly start to pull on the post. And what this is going to create is a little bit of a stretch in the low back. And so I'm going to do this. And I'm going to push those hips back, and then I'm going to ease up, come back up. Pull on the post, push the hips back, and ease up. Now, you need to be cautious with this. You don't want to like yank apart, like you don't want to like overdo it. Notice that I'm going out and then I'm coming back, out and then coming back. I'm not doing a stretch. I'm not going to come here and like stretch out for 90 seconds or whatever. Like I'm just going to roll it out, give a little range of motion in there. You might rotate side to side, and we're mobilizing, okay? It's an active stretch. Now, you do that straight up. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go right hand on top, left hand on bottom, palm is gonna be, or thumb is gonna be pointing down, and so now I'm hitting the right side a little bit more, and I'm still gonna kind of push back into the ball, stretching that low back, mobilizing it. Do that a good couple of times, and then we'll get the other side. And typically what I do is I do 5 times. So when I start this, I'm pushing the hips back, mobilize, come back up. That's 1. I'll do it again. That's 2. I'll get 5, then I'll do 5 this way. Then I'll do 5 this way, right? So that's gonna really kind of loosen up the low back a little bit, but that's only the first thing that we're gonna do, right? So the next thing we're gonna do, so we're going to do an actual QL stretch. So you're going to set yourself up on the floor. My right leg, knee is going to be bent at 90 degrees. Left leg is back behind me. This is bent at 90 degrees as well. Pull that leg back as far as you can get it, okay? So when you're sitting up, you're going to feel a big stretch in the hip flexor here, okay? This is where you can use your med ball for a little bit of support if you need it. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 5 big overhead reaches here. I'm going to lean into the med ball. If you don't have one, you can just put your arm on the ground here, but you're going to open up everything. So hip flexor is being stretched here. I'm going to reach up And I'm gonna get a big old lean in as far as I can. Really stretch that out, and then you're gonna come back and you're gonna relax, okay? This does not work if you're in a flex position and you're leaning over like this, okay? So you have to be active in the hips, okay? Squeezing the butt, pushing the hip forward, big lean over. Right there. You're gonna feel everything stretch, everything kind of open up. What you can also do is kind of start to rotate your chest across your body. That's gonna get it even bigger. Bit of movement in there, but you're gonna get 5 times this way, okay? Once you get that, and switch sides, you'll get 5 times this way. So again, pulling that leg back as far as you can go. Big reach. And you can tell this side is way tighter than the other. And this is usually where I tend to get tight is the right side. Boom. So 5 times there. Now, the next thing you're gonna do, now that we've kind of stretched the QL, is we're gonna do some QL walks. So what you do is you just basically sit on the floor, don't use your hands, and you're gonna walk forward. So you're basically using your butt to crawl onto the floor. And so what this is really doing is causing you to engage your QL muscle, your low back. You're gonna walk forward 10 steps. Then you're gonna come back, scoot back 10 steps. And you're gonna do that one more time. So you go 10 steps forward, 10 steps back. Boom, here. And if you want, this is something that you can do before workouts as well, before like lower body workouts. But you're gonna go forward, backwards, 2 sets of 10, and then we're gonna go side to side, 2 sets of 10. So I'm scooting to the side, 10 that way, 10 the other way. It's a fun little drill, right? You're gonna look silly, but now we're really starting to engage that muscle. Once we've done that, now we're gonna flip it over. Now, we're gonna do some big lunge, all right? So big lunge, front foot out. You want that foot completely flat on the ground. I'm gonna drive that knee out. Opposite hand is gonna be even with the foot here. And I'm gonna do some rotation. So I'm gonna be rotating towards the leg that's up. So you can start here. I'm gonna reach, rotate, open up that chest, hold it for a couple seconds. If you can, you're gonna go elbow to instep here. Then you're gonna reach back open that up. You're gonna do 5 reps each way. So now we're getting that hip flexor, everything loosened up here on the other side, okay? Now, once you've done that, the next thing I want you to do is you're gonna lay flat on your back. Basically gonna do some hollow rock holds. And the key with this, okay? So if I'm just loose, my core is not engaged, I can almost slide my hand under my low back, okay? So what I want you to imagine here is you're gonna smash the floor with your low back. In order to do that, you have to engage your core, okay? Hands are gonna come off to the side, legs are gonna be straight. I'm just gonna do a simple hold here, okay? If this is too tough, you're gonna bring those knees in, bend the knees 90 degrees, and you're gonna hold this. From here, you're just gonna bring one leg out at a time. And basically what I'm doing here is I'm engaging the other side of the core. So your QL is on the other side. So this is gonna help just balance things out here. You get certain muscles engaged, loosens things up. But you do 10 of these each side. If you're advanced, you can keep that other leg straight, but make sure your lower back is staying flat on the floor. So you get 10 of those each side. That's gonna really get some muscles that need to be engaged. And then from there, it's time to hit some soft tissue. So soft tissue work, you're gonna hit your hip flexors. You can use a foam roller for that if you need to. Hit the hip flexors. And then with your lacrosse ball, you're gonna wanna get your glutes, okay? Your upper glutes, so your upper butt. You're gonna wanna really dig into that tissue, right? And imagine if I had lacrosse ball here, if I'm sitting on it, you want to put most of your weight on that side, and you're just gonna cover that upper area there, right? And then the last area you're gonna get is your QL. But what you wanna do with that is you'll take your medicine ball, or your small box. You're just gonna put your heels up on that ball. You got your lacrosse ball. You're gonna put it on your QL. So wherever your low back is super tight, you're gonna put it on there. It's gonna apply pressure. Obviously, it's gonna be digging into the muscle. And so what you're gonna do, now you can control how much pressure is going into the ball by pushing it up through the box or med ball that you got with your heels. And then you just kind of feather that lacrosse ball across your lower back. It's gonna really loosen up that soft tissue. Spend about 90 seconds each side. And that right there, it's somewhat of a long routine. Should take you about 15 minutes. But I'm telling you, you do this multiple times a week, especially in the beginning, your back's gonna really start to loosen up. Another thing that you can do with that routine is just a couple of those mobility movements throughout the day. So if you're like sitting at a desk or whatever, something I'd suggest to do is this one that I showed you here. So we're getting that hip flexor open. You're doing a little bit of rotation. You could do that and then do the core engagement one where you're laying flat on your back. Do that at different points of the day just to get those muscles engaged, muscles opened up, which will help loosen things up as well. So the more you use this, the better your low back is gonna feel and the better you're gonna feel. So if you got any questions, let me know, but definitely put this to use. You'll get great benefit from it.